Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you're well. You know, Rupert Lowe is up in the news again. One thing Rupert is very good at is turning over stones and exposing government incompetence that has been going on far too long and way too unchecked. And he's always doing something about a subject somewhere. It's really good stuff. And the recent thing he's come out with lately is a tweet he put on this morning, and that's this here. A Home Office whistleblower has come forward to me with serious concerns about foreign nationals taking and passing important tests for numerous other foreign nationals in exchange for money, a national crime network. I've written to the relevant ministers demanding action. Does this explain how so many foreign nationals are slipping through the claimed high standards they're supposed to meet? Driving test fraud on an industrial scale, immigration fraud. An example had one individual sitting numerous driving life in the UK tests on behalf of others. Again, fears of being called a racist getting in the way of fairness and justice. I will pursue this. I'll tell you a story at the end of this video about one of my own experiences to do with the taxi trade. So if you hang on to the end, I'll tell you that. But in the meantime, let's have a look at this letter, shall we, that Rupert's sent their way. I think this is worthy of some attention. So we got, Dear Ministers, a Home Office whistleblower has contacted me to report serious concerns about a potential criminal network facilitating fraudulent access to UK immigration entitlements and driving licenses. The allegation suggests that individuals with indefinite leave to remain are posing as test candidates and completing life in the UK and driving theory and practical tests on behalf of others in exchange for payment. The whistleblower states that inadequate identity verification by the DVSA has enabled the issuing of illegitimate driving licenses to individuals who have never taken the tests themselves. As you will be aware, over 1.3 million foreign drivers have received UK licenses without taking a domestic test since 2016, a situation already raising significant questions of safety and standards on our roads. One individual who is currently under investigation, alongside numerous others, attempted to sit the life in the UK test on behalf of others on at least 7 occasions, with at least one verified instance of her doing so successfully. Upon gaining access to this individual's financial records and phone communications, the whistleblower discovered multiple examples of correspondence with others in which the individual discussed fraudulently sitting driving tests on their behalf. The whistleblower suspects that this individual is linked to a wider organised crime network. Despite being part of a team dedicated to disrupting organised criminal activity, the whistleblower was instructed to hand over his investigation to the DVSA due to an alleged lack of immigration nexus, even though the principal suspect is herself a migrant from Central Africa. This investigation has not been taken further due to an administrative issue at the DVSA. The common sense approach would have been to allow me to pursue it as part of my ongoing investigations, rather than have another agency, as part of a separate investigation, repeat the work I'd already done, said the whistleblower. All of this raises the following questions. Whose responsibility is it to determine whether driving licenses are being issued to individuals who have been paid others to fraudulently take the test for them? Whose responsibility is it to determine whether life in the UK tests are being sat and in some cases passed by an individual acting as paid imposters on behalf of others? To what extent is the Home Office aware of this criminal activity, and what is it doing to identify and prevent it? Will it commit to doing so? To what extent is the Department for Transport aware of this criminal activity, and what is it doing to identify and prevent it? Will it commit to doing so? In cases where it can be proven that an individual has been awarded a driving licence or indefinite leave to remain fraudulently, will you commit to stripping it from them and prosecuting / deporting both of them and the person who sat the test? I look forward to a speedy response on all these points. And we would be very happy to meet with you or your civil servants to discuss the next steps. Yours sincerely, Rupert Lowe MP. So there you go, a bit of a scandal there. It's happening all the time. Now for the story. As I said, I've been a driving job, taxi driver for better part of 15 years. And you have to take a knowledge test when you do my job. Basically, you've got to have some idea of where you're going at the end of the day. And I remember this guy who could not speak English. And the knowledge test at that point in time was literally a pen and a test paper. That's what it was. Pen and a test paper. You had multiple choice questions. Couldn't read any of them. And the examiner had to consistently intervene to help this person through the test. It was ridiculous. Can you imagine them in a cab? Well, I came across him years later, and he actually took me home once I'd gone out, had a little bit too much to drink, and, returned home again. And I was talking to him, and he'd been bounced around different taxi firms locally because he couldn't get on because of the language barrier. And eventually, of course, no longer a taxi driver. The other one as well, it was well documented. There was a raid in a local property. I think there was about 5 or 6 individuals there. And again, I'm going back a couple of years. And what the raid found, these individuals were all taxi drivers or licensed taxi drivers. But the problem is they were sharing just the one license. So, of course, none of them had legitimately done everything they were supposed to do to get that license. Just one of them had, and they were sharing it around all the others. Obviously, that was looked on very, very dimly. There's a load of changes going on with the taxi industry, at least locally as well. And I'm attending a meeting at the council tomorrow night to do with it. And I'll bring you more news on that as and when I can. But as for Rupert, he's dead right, and it goes along the same thing. If you come here and you want to live here, you integrate here, you speak the lingo, you obey the laws. And if you can't accept any of that, then you need to and should leave. They apparently come from places that they want to leave because they don't like it. And they can't turn this place into their old place. It doesn't work like that. And we need to deal with this situation, don't we? Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button. The letter from Rupert there is very interesting. Share my stuff. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.